We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Joe's talking to somebody.
No, I was just I'm using the phone today for the first time only. God damn, it's so much easier. God, if I could just catch up, get 5 years ahead of technology, I might be about 2 years behind.
There you go.
But yeah, no, I was just telling people here that I was going to be talking, so
yeah,
to keep the noise down, because we've got to make sure we hear what Brad's saying. I don't want to get ambushed.
Well, you just gonna have to go out and get you another disposable computer, I guess.
I mean, these things fall apart in like a year and a half. I mean, it's just such, I just hate these cheap ass Macs, man. I keep losing them, breaking them down constantly.
You're a liar. You're a liar.
No, it's not a Mac. It's a Lenovo.
Yeah, I should ship you over like one of my old MacBooks. It'd be better than what you buy. So
you're always talking a big game.
Yeah.
But I know you got like about 14 kids in line waiting for those computers. So.
Exactly. Yeah. They want the newest. My son is both on Mac and Windows because for gaming he's got to be on Windows. So, all right, dude. So we got a guest today.
All right.
Founder of Ash, the founder of DAODAO. So he'll be joining us in a bit, and we'll talk a little bit about what that is, et cetera, in a bit. Markets doing good, gave back a little bit of the gains, but overall, things are looking good. Fear and greed is still at 34. Bitcoin's at 22,686, 676, 1513 for Ethereum. So it gave back some of the gains yesterday because they were up to 24 at some point. But we're hanging out in this area, and I'm happy. It's all good.
Yeah.
Me. So
look, I mean, there's definitely some kind of a stabilization going on there. I mean, people are taking profits at this point. I mean, I saw this stuff. I think I put the link in about, the Tesla sale, and we probably all read everything about that over the last 12 hours. But the speculation on Michael Saylor's selling was not true, evidently, that they weren't selling any. But for all of us, look, you're up 50%, take some profits.
Yeah. Well, Musk sold a big 75%. Tesla sold 75% of their Bitcoin. I don't know when the actual sale happened, but evidently they were going to fall short on cash and they needed that money. So
yeah, were they up at that point? Do you know?
I don't know when they sold. I don't know. I don't know what the timing was on it, but
I know like Saylor's number was around 21,000 allegedly, just based upon that collateral call with Silvergate. I don't know what Tesla's. We talked about it before. I just kind of forgot. I thought it was 28 for some reason.
I don't know. But yeah.
But look, man, the market shrugs it off.
Exactly. You got to love it.
And that's the important thing.
So fear and greed is there, 34 staying where we were yesterday, but it's all good. I'm happy where things are at the moment. Did you see, I don't have the story up, another insider trading arrest in crypto today in Coinbase. And it turns out that Kobe actually exposed it on Twitter. So Coinbase, does this listing list, or did this listing list where they listed all these potential currencies that were going to get listed on Coinbase.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out some dude working at Coinbase bought a day before that list was going to be posted, bought all big chunks of all those tokens. And the next day, of course, the list came out and whatever. Well, Kobe posted up the wallet address and that they had found it and that somehow the person had bought all of these specific coins, et cetera, et cetera. And they started doing an internal investigation, asked the guy some questions, and the director of security for Coinbase told him he had to come in for a meeting the next day. And the guy booked a one-way ticket to India and tried to get out, but the police were waiting for him at the airport, or intercepted him on the way to the airport. I don't know the details. But the other interesting thing that came out of the court filing is the SEC named 4 or 5 tokens in that list. Specifically, they called them securities, which was the first time they had done so. So it's interesting in terms of it setting up the dynamics for regulation and enforcement. But also interesting to see somebody get busted for doing stupid shit. We have Samson Dogo joining us. He says, "Hello guys, happy to join. Happy to have you here. Thanks for listening and watching, man. We appreciate it." So, got a new episode of Mission DeFi out. I interviewed the head of the Stacks Pre-Accelerator and Accelerator, the Stacks Venture Capital Group, and Stacks Foundation, the guy that heads up grants, Albert Lang, Kyle Ellicott, and Will Corcoran, respectively, to those titles, and had a fascinating dive into kind of what the Stacks ecosystem is like, how it functions, what's going on there, some of the origins of it, all of their kind of origins into Stacks. For example, Albert's been running a pre-accelerator and accelerator in China for startups, had nothing to do with crypto, but was friends with Kyle's partner at Stacks Ventures, and had years of experience doing kind of startup ideation and startup work and helping startups, get into the right product market fit. So interesting approach that they're taking, because they have a pre-accelerator, accelerator, they have grants from the foundation, and they have a venture capital program with 165 million in it. So overall, it's a pretty strong ecosystem they're developing. And the thing I noticed in both of the demo days that I attended for Stacks was that the applications coming out of it, some are similar to other DeFi applications that we see in Ethereum and Avalanche and Phantom, et cetera. But there also was a lot of unique plays in the space. So really interesting interview, a lot of cool ideas. And then I learned a lot more about the CityCoin approach, right? So CityCoin is the first city that it was launched on is Miami. So we have a little bit of familiarity with it. But CityCoin is launched on Stacks. And the cool thing about it is that this is not just this one-shot system of they get all these coins for the city and the city makes money on them. They're now deploying all of these developers to develop applications around city government data, city funding, city budgeting, city governance, to allow people to propose things to cities. All kinds of really cool shit being built, and lots of opportunities as CityCoins expands to more and more cities over time. I will tell you, I was really impressed with what they're building and how they're building it and how they're approaching the rollout of startups in this space.
Do they I can't see the screen as well, obviously, from the phone, but this is the Stacks of Bitcoin DeFi.
So this is Bitcoin DeFi, DeFi on Bitcoin, and Stacks is what they call a layer 1.5. So it's almost like a layer 2, and the transactions get written to the primary chain, but it also has its own functionality that's a bit different than a standard layer 2 that makes it really kind of a cross between a layer 1 and a layer 2. So that's kind of how they phrase it.
How does that fit into, remember we talked about Lightning yesterday? How do you see like Stacks and Lightning and
So Stacks and Lightning and Stacks are completely separate. I assume there are some functional capabilities, because Lightning writes to the Bitcoin chain as well, that they can make use of, right? They can look for Lightning transactions, etc. But there's not a direct integration there. Kyle Ellicott, the managing partner at Stacks Ventures, actually also invests in a number of Lightning projects. So I'm sure if there's crossover opportunities, they'll definitely try to take advantage of those.
So that episode's out now?
It is. It was out this morning at 10:45. So you guys can watch it on missiondefi.com. You can Spotify listen if you just want to listen to it, Apple Podcasts. It's on YouTube as well, on the Mission DeFi channel there. But there's a tweet on my profile showcasing it. So a great group of guys. I'm really impressed with what they're building, and the team they've brought together. So I always say, don't sleep on DeFi and Bitcoin.
No, I'm curious.
Go ahead.
No, I was just curious I'm sure there's a lot of coverage in there about where they see DeFi and Bitcoin going in the future. I'm sure you talk a lot about that vis-a-vis like ETH and everything else. Okay, that's cool. I'm going to definitely listen to that one. Yeah. That sounds awesome.
The thing I always say to people is don't sleep on DeFi and Bitcoin. There are three that I know of doing these kind of layers on Bitcoin to enable DeFi type applications. And the thing is, this is Bitcoin is crypto to a lot of the world. You know, a lot of users in the world see Bitcoin first, and that's what they know of crypto is Bitcoin. It is the brand of crypto. So if they can successfully leverage Bitcoin and have DeFi applications on it, I truly and personally believe that there's huge potential for DeFi and Bitcoin to be big success because of all of the new folks who are coming in that are on exchanges that are just buying a little bit of Bitcoin and holding it, whatever. They can be a gateway to that because it's something that people are already familiar with, having Bitcoin, right? And so if you can say to them, look, you can now borrow against the Bitcoin you hold, you don't have to sell it, and you can do that easily here, or you can, you know, swap it for other tokens, or you can start getting a taste or engagement with DeFi protocols. People that already have Bitcoin are going to be most likely to say, hey, let me check this out, right? So yeah. I think there's a huge opportunity for Stacks and for other players in the space, DeFi Chain and the others, to do really well. So anyway, check it out. There's a ton of links in the show notes, resources, how to apply for the accelerators and the venture capital, et cetera. There is another interesting thing that happened. It came out today in the news. TechCrunch had a story. There's a former Bitcoin maximalist named Dan Held, who you know, was one of those people that's a real purist about Bitcoin previously, has joined a firm that just raised $150 million to fund projects on Stacks as well. And so he's backed off from his kind of no layers, no other tokens state of mind. And Dan is a pretty big player in the space. He's also was head of communications at Kraken. He's leaving Kraken to go do that. But they're making good traction. The current TVL is under 20 million, but there's some real rock stars at this at Stacks and building the Stacks ecosystem. I think there's a ton of potential for them. So,
well, it's like you said that, you know, I think if you're going to do a risk chart, most people, I mean, newbies through medium, I mean, maybe all the way, would regard Bitcoin as probably the least risky, or the tried and true, or the, you know, there's an elevation, there's a premium there with it. And particularly with new people who can't figure stuff out. And so, I mean, I could see the pitch already. DeFi returns without DeFi risk. I mean, it makes total sense to me, your whole thesis.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So let's see what else I got. That's the guys we're having on. That's the guy we're having on today. Oh, Microsoft is trying to kill blockchain and NFTs on Minecraft. I'm a bit disappointed that that they would take this. What they've basically said is their reasoning for this is they want Minecraft to be open. They want people to be able to have a fair and level playing field. They don't want people to be able to buy advantages or superiority in the Minecraft world. You know, and all of that sounds plausible and realistic. But there are a number of projects, including our buddy Corey over at Uplift, and several others that I found over the last 24 hours that are significantly impacted by this, and a number of communities that are impacted by this. So it's a bit of a clusterfuck. I'm obviously disappointed in Mojang and Microsoft in taking this step. There are people speculating that that's because they're going to be launching their own in-game you know, stuff. I don't know what they're planning to do, but you know, at the end of the day, I think it's a mistake on their part to take this approach. And so we'll see how it all works out. The other side of this is there are a number of competitors to Minecraft out there in the world. And this may drive some other solutions to some of those. So we'll see what happens.
hey, what are those competitors?
So there's a bunch of different ones. One called Craft. I can't remember all the other names. I was looking at a few of them yesterday, but some of them are open source. Some of them are commercial. There's a lot of other builder type platforms in the space. So we'll see what happens. But I'm just disappointed in the proactive nature of this move, right? Wasn't really necessary. Nobody was getting hurt. Nobody was claiming harm that would spur this on, which kind of leads me back to them probably having some plans themselves for a marketplace of some kind. But it's disappointing to see them doing it.
Well, I wish they would spend half the time they spend worrying about this shit and go fix LinkedIn. There you go.
That would require just deleting about 75% of the accounts that are all CEO coaches.
It's like everybody on LinkedIn, the only thing they're selling is coaching and influencing or growing your follower. I see just crap there.
It's garbage.
Anyhow, so how do you police that though? I mean, would it be like Minecraft police running around in game, or would there be?
No, they can look. I mean, they'll probably have people that'll report it, and they can lock off servers. They can lock off the client, right, that everybody uses to access Minecraft from accessing those servers. They can block those, but at the end of the day, all they have to do is send an attorney letter and shut them down, right? Because most of these people can't go up against it, Microsoft attorneys. Hey, we got our guest on, buddy.
Oh, cool, awesome.
Yeah. Ash, welcome to DeFi Lunch. How are you, man?
I'm doing great, Brad. Thanks for having me.
Awesome to have you. So, Ash is joining us because he's got a really cool project called DAODAO, and they have a DAO, which I just want to say this because it's fun to say, called DAO, which I just love that shit. That's
triple
awesome.
DAO. I love it.
Triple DAO. Ash, first, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you also work with the blockchain layer one that's underneath an underlying DAO, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up in this world.
Sure, yeah. So my name's Ash. I'm a marketer by trade. I've been doing digital marketing for about 12 years now. How I got sucked into Web3 and crypto is back in 2017. I read a book called Ethereum by Henning Diedrich. And then the concept of world computer sucked me down the crypto rabbit hole. At the time, I had like this daily fantasy sports, like premium content website that I ran at night while working daily at a agency. And we monetized that. And I had a partner. And this book blew my mind so much. I like got into a fight with my partner. I was like, we need to sell the site and go all in on crypto. He didn't like that. He thought it was a scam. So eventually I bought him out and then sold it. And then ever since I've just been like locked in and monitoring crypto. From that point, it took me a little bit to start working full-time into it. I was leading Starbucks SEO at an agency for about 2.5 years.
Nice.
I went to go work for a digital asset hedge fund called 2Prime, where they manage Bitcoin and Ethereum. About 2 years ago as a director of strategy and marketer. And ever since I've been full-time in crypto and Web3. So
nice. Very nice. Yeah. Are you still with the hedge fund, or are you out on your own now?
I work for Deso now, the Deso Foundation, the Deso decentralized social blockchain. And, we're trying to change social media, and DAODAO is built on top of it.
Yeah. And how cool is this world that we live in, right? Like, you're working for kind of the foundational blockchain layer for the project that you built on top of it, but you get to build a project on top of it. I mean, how many places would that be the norm if you were working that you were also building something, on top of it, along with doing the role that you have within the organization? That's really cool.
Yeah. So with Deso, just like a minor correction, I didn't build DAODAO. I helped market DAODAO. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
With Deso and DAODAO, Ed Moss and Nader Al-Naji kind of built DAODAO from the ground up on top of Deso, on top of the Deso blockchain, which is amazing. The cool thing about Deso is like, you can build whatever you want on it. You can build a Web3 Twitter. You can build a Web3 LinkedIn, which we have both of those on the platform. And now we have something for Web3 communities and DAOs and DAODAO.
Nice. That's very nice. Well, let's first dive into DAODAO and talk about it. And then we'll go in a little bit to Deso and talk about that as well. So why don't you give us kind of the high level elevator pitch for what DAODAO is and why people should be interested in it?
Yeah, definitely. I think you see like a big sea change right now in the future of work. I read a stat the other day, about 40% of people are thinking about quitting their job in the next 3 to 6 months and doing something more meaningful. We saw kind of the great resignation and shuffling around during COVID. So I think like the future of work, people are going to be working from home. They want to work online. And with DAODAO, you have this Web3 social platform that allows you to start, fund, and trade your next big idea. So imagine like Reddit, Kickstarter, and Coinbase all wrapped into one. So it removes the friction of fundraising for an idea or a project. In Natter, basically his background is he was mining Bitcoin at Stanford, so he got into crypto back in the day there. And he previously raised about $140 million with a previous crypto project called Basis. Wow. And, he eventually had to give that money back because he played the chess of like the regulatory landscape. And this was in 2017, 2018. And he kind of figured out like the business model was unsustainable. So he gave all the money back, believe it or not.
Nice.
After being in the fundraising world and the investing world and the VC world, he took all his learnings and he built it all into DAODAO. So he wanted to create an app where you could raise money from anybody in the world without the traditional friction of VC investing. So
nice, very nice. So the idea is it's an app that I could come in, I could set up a fundraiser, but I can also set up the community around the project that I'm building, right? I mean, that's kind of what's this, because it's built on this, social blockchain layer. And that's where kind of the Reddit meets Kickstarter and Coinbase comes in, is that people can actually participate in the community there. Are there tools in the system that allow people to kind of, do the whole proposal process and vote on things? Or is this more of a communication tool to let people know what's going on? How does it work for someone?
Yeah, DAODAO, man, the tech, the hard tech is insane. So we have like a lot of issues in the NFT space right now. You saw the BAYC hack situation happening. It's like DAOs are fragmented, communities are fragmented in Web3, and DAODAO allows you to bring everything on chain, right? So you could go in and in 3 steps launch a DAO, and then like all the communication can happen on chain. You can vote on chain. You can trade your DAO coin. You can communicate. Everything happens on chain. So that's
nice.
the cool thing about it. And then examples of like what's happening on DAODAO. Like we have an NFT staking platform called Lix that they just launched a DAO and they're doing some fundraising as well. We have content creators launching DAOs. There's one called Web3 Simplified. And he does funding rounds for every video he creates. So DeFi Lunch could do a DAO and be like, hey, like I want to, launch DeFi Lunch DAO. And then like together we can figure out like the content we want to produce. And then we'll share in the revenue and kind of disperse it among the community. So,
oh, that's awesome, man. That's actually a great idea, since we haven't monetized anything we're doing with Mission DeFi or DeFi Lunch. I love that. And then from what I can see, there is this entire kind of feed of discussion that people can communicate with and take part in. Proposals can be made to projects. And then there's also is there a DEX built in? Did I understand that correctly? So that
so if you go to
book trading can happen.
Yeah. It's if you go to trade, it's like an on-chain order book exchange that happens, on chain. So
wow.
You can trade, DAODAO coins, and we're getting ready to push a lot of new updates as well. So we're going to have USDC Treasury as well. We're about to launch a MetaMask integration on Deso. So and we're like chain agnostic. So like you can buy with Ethereum, Solana, soon to be USDC. You can keep your treasury in Deso, however you want to do it. But that's like kind of the cool thing. So you get, you can get instant liquidity, instead of getting, locked out of trades or anything like that. So, wow,
that's awesome. And when you say that our Are these like wrapped versions of Ethereum and Bitcoin on the chain, or is the chain has some cross chain mechanism in it that's allowing? How does that all function?
Yeah, it'll be cross chain with the MetaMask integration, but yeah, it's
Okay,
wrapped. Yeah, so
nice. That's awesome. Now I'm going off on this Deso tangent, but was Deso is Deso a fork of an existing blockchain infrastructure, or is it a whole new infrastructure?
It's custom built from the ground up specifically to scale decentralized social media apps to 1 billion users. So
Nice.
It's not really a fork. It was inspired by Bitcoin, but it's not, it's not a fork of anything. So
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's hyper fast. We just pushed an upgrade called Hypersync, which the blockchain syncs in only 20 minutes now, and like transaction costs are like almost non-existent. It's one of the fastest chains out there. If you try some of the other apps in the ecosystem, like Diamond app or Decify app, those are you post on there and you don't even really realize it's a blockchain. So
wow, that's amazing, man. And what's the experience been so far in terms of first onboarding creators or people that want to create DAOs? Do you find that you guys are heavily leaning on the creator side of the DAOs that are getting created, or are there startups? Are there tech plays? What's been the experience like that?
Yeah, so it's super early. We're only about a month in. We're doing a lot of outreach, and we're trying to bring more communities on chain. Our marketing strategy is to go after founders right now. So they can launch the next best big social media app on Deso through DAODAO, or they can fund one of their other projects. So that's what we're doing. We're getting ready to do a hackathon soon as well.
Nice.
So right now it's founders, but we have a mix right now of founders and creators as well. But we're building our DAO pipeline. We've had a lot of good conversations with potential DAO founders. I mean, like one guy wants to start like a medical education DAO because he doesn't trust like the current, medical system right now, and thinks it's kind of like, I mean, the guy went to school, became a doctor, went into debt, right? About, $500,000 in debt. And then decided he didn't want to do that anymore because he doesn't really like the system. So he wants to launch a bunch of DAOs to educate people on how to take care of themselves better. So
nice. Wow, that's cool. All right, so it's a big mix. Is DAODAO kind of the meant to be kind of the onboarding of founders that want to build custom projects on Deso? Like this is where you go in the ecosystem to get set up and funded and build your DAO and raise money?
Yeah, you're right on the money there, Brad. It's 100% what we're going after right now. So, if we get founders on there, they're going to attract developers, and then developers are going to attract users, and then users are going to attract creators. So we're trying to bring communities on chain through DAODAO.
Very nice. Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense, right? The incentives are aligned because people are raising money. They want to gain supporters, and and if you've got people that have existing kind of networks of people that you can bring in, that makes a ton of sense. So what's it been like kind of iterating through the user experience process here, right? I mean, you guys are trying something where you're probably onboarding people that want to create DAOs that have some familiarity with blockchain, but some of these creators, their users may have zero connection to this world. What's that been like for them and for you guys as you're kind of getting through and learning this process after you've only been at this a month?
Yeah, it's still like really, really new. The thing about Deso is like you can use your Web 2 skill set to build on Deso. So in that case,
oh really?
You can. You don't need to learn Solidity or smart contracts or anything like that. And we get a lot of developers and founders in the ecosystem saying the reason they built on Deso is because it's so easy and it's like API based on there. So it's like,
nice.
It's like early days with users like, joining through DAODAO. It's a super simple process. And like we're really, really big on UX here. We want to eliminate as much friction as possible. That's the whole concept around DAODAO. So like once once you sign up and log in, you can start posting and stuff right away. So users have early days said it's pretty easy to navigate through DAODAO.
Very nice. StreamYard screen sharing isn't showing it, but I clicked on the Start Your DAO button, and it comes up in a pop-up. And what's really interesting here is that you guys have the option of using, I guess your seed phrase, your wallet on the Deso blockchain, but you can also just log in with Google.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to make it as easy as possible. And then soon, like, you're going to be able to log in with MetaMask. Our MetaMask integration is done. So it'll be 1 or 2 clicks with MetaMask, which means we can tap into their 21 million monthly active users. And it just kind of like, we believe in an interoperable future, and that's what we're building towards with Deso. We don't really believe in like tribalism or anything like that. Right now, we're in like the tribalism phase right now, but with these new integrations, it's really not going to matter, and you're going to be able to navigate through different ecosystems pretty easily. And I think all blockchains are going to be like that in the future.
That's awesome. I love the concept behind this. I think it makes a ton of sense. And look, I think it's a heavy hill to climb to launch a new blockchain and to launch something like this. But I think specialized chains and projects like this are actually kind of where everything's going to go. And so I think it makes a ton of sense to do it, and take this approach, especially with the performance that you need for a social focused chain. You've got to have something that flies. You've got to have something that's integrated and seamless and that users can easily adapt to. So I think it makes a ton of sense. I love this project. Yeah.
I mean, blockchains are anti-fragile. And what we mean by that is you need one killer app to get, communities and users into the ecosystem. If you go back and look at the history of Ethereum, what happened in the first 2 years, pretty much nothing until ICOs showed up. And then everybody called ICOs a scam, but it had a positive impact on Ethereum because it brought all this attention and these communities to Ethereum to build on it. And then that happened, then people started building apps around those communities. And that's what we're trying to do with Deso through DAODAO. We think DAODAO could be, the killer app that we're looking for. And like kind of watching them build this, I'm mostly 100% focused on Deso. But the team that built out DAODAO, they pushed this thing in 4 months. Something like this in like Web 2 would have taken 2 years to build and ship from a product perspective. They did it in 4 months.
Amazing.
They got a bunch of, cool features that are going to go live in the next month as well. The USDC treasury is like a big one. The communities we have talked to, that's like the one kind of piece of friction or hurdle that they keep running into is like they don't want to put their treasury in Deso or Ethereum because it's too volatile. They want to be able to store it in USDC. So
no, that makes sense. I think that's a smart move on your part to make that available. I can't do this interview and not ask you personally, because you're historically a marketer outside of crypto and DeFi. What are you doing to? This is a big job you have on your plate, right? Growing this ecosystem. First of all, it's the whole two-sided, and maybe even 3 or 4-sided marketplace problem, right? You need developers, you need apps, you need users, you need money in it. How are you approaching growth in this world, and have you found things that are working for you already that you're starting to see traction from?
Yeah, so I can kind of speak to how long I've been here and like what we've been doing, and then what we're gonna do here in the near future. So when I got hired at Deso, my focus was getting marketing fundamentals in place because we just didn't have that yet. And you have to build those pipelines and that awareness first. It's like you don't have any awareness, and then you go for, you ask users to join your ecosystem, they're not going to do it. Imagine going on a date for the first time, asking the woman to marry you. She's going to be like, you are crazy, get away from me. But if you go, 30 dates or 20 dates or whatever, you ask her to marry you, she might, So we have to kind of warm up and build awareness. That's what I'm doing right now. And we're getting ready to kind of rebrand. The next step are, building the DAODAO pipeline, right? Once we start building the DAODAO pipeline and funneling communities through that, then, we have some viral upside there as well. Because if somebody launches a DAO on DAODAO that's powered by Deso and raises 5 million in a bear market, that's newsworthy, and it hits, the PR news wires and stuff like that as well. So that's like the main focus. We're going to rebrand DAODAO pipeline. And then we're going to go after creators too. We need creators from Web 2 to start using the tools on Deso, to start getting people off of Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram onto Deso, right? And then we're gonna launch our own DAO as well. Another one, PokeDAO. So we're gonna do a Pokemon DAO where we're gonna fractionalize like Pokemon cards on chain.
Nice. My son will sign up for that.
Yeah, so we're tapping into that big community that has an ability to go viral as well. So like those are our two primary focuses right now, and the next month is going to be pretty big for us as we align everything to start hitting home runs. So we're trying to everything needs to be in place, right? So if you want to launch a rocket into space, you got to build a launch pad, right? You try to launch a rocket from the cement, it's just going to crash, right? So right now, I'm building the launch pad. I'm raising awareness. I'm doing all the marketing fundamentals so we can do the fun stuff like, hitting home runs and launching into this space. So
that's great. Are you guys also going to be, I'm assuming, because, I know it's social focused, but the chain itself, I'm assuming any kind of app can be developed on the chain. It doesn't have to be just socially focused, or is that the case that it's primarily what's available to make use of on the chain is social media focused?
Yeah, so you can build pretty much anything. You can build marketplaces on top of it. Social platforms, are the most disruptive. But like the way you can kind of build on Deso, you can kind of build whatever on chain.
Cool.
It doesn't really matter, right? So anything in Web 2 you can build on Deso pretty much.
Do you think you'll be going after existing Web 2 projects and developers and trying to recruit them to actually do maybe integrations first and then entire apps on the platform, or kind of what's your approach to kind of recruiting founders and developers?
Yeah, so we just pushed kind of like our high level marketing strategy on chain. So they got to hold us to that now because it's stored on chain.
Nice. So that's the worst. That's a marketer's worst nightmare, dude.
Oh,
seriously?
Man, yeah, every little thing,
That's brutal.
So yeah, it's do or die right now. But basically, it's make Deso easy plan. So we have 4 audience paths right here. We're going to go after with a new website launch in the next month or so. So basically, the developers are a big one, right? So we need to woo developers who are in Web 2, who are like, I don't want to use Solidity, and who just want to start building in Web 3 right away. So we have a partnership with Major League Hacking right now. So we're in we're in their hackathon season right now as well.
Cool.
And then we need to kind of rebuild. All coins are down right now for the most part, but we're going to make a conscious effort to rebuild our market cap. And we're going to do a lot of hedge fund outreach as well. That's going to happen through the hackathon as well, because we're going to have VCs and stuff watching that. And but yeah, it's make Deso easy as possible, make it easy as possible to onboard, make it as easy as possible for developers to interact and build in the ecosystem, make it easy for creators to start creating on the Deso blockchain. So
that's awesome. I think look, I think you guys are taking the right approach. I think it's a really big job. And it's good to see you're starting to do some partnerships to help expand your growth instead of having to all be on your shoulders, which is, I think, important as well.
Yeah, we're doing active outreach. I can't really say who I have a meeting with next Monday, but it is with a big, Web 2 social media platform that is interested.
Nice.
Well, I did reach out to the local Colorado governor's office as well. So I'm getting a meeting set up with them, but we're trying to get it in front of as many people as possible. And there's some other chains that want to collaborate with us as well. All of which I can't announce just yet, but
Sure.
yeah, we're having conversations right now, partnerships, to see how we can scale this thing. So
The Colorado thing is interesting. We'll talk about this offline, but I'll send you a message offline. Our attorney, Yev Muchnick, is a leader in the Colorado cooperative space, setting up DAOs as cooperatives. I'm actually interviewing them next week. She and one of her partners. And the governor there, Jared Paulus, is obviously very pro crypto in general. So I actually think that could be a really interesting play for you guys to have us tap into the number of projects that are starting to build and grow and want to set up their DAOs within the Colorado infrastructure, legal infrastructure, and registration process. Might be something that'd be really cool to have DAODAO be a part of DAODAO when you're setting up your DAO, is that you can set up as a cooperative. That would be awesome. So I'll connect with you after. We'll talk about that.
okay, great. Yeah, I think that's all. I've ran into Yeb before. Yeah, she's a great person.
She's amazing. She and Jackie both work at the same firm, and they're doing a lot for the ecosystem. So they're good people. They're good folks. So
absolutely.
Joe, did you have any questions? I've been yapping the whole time.
Hey, nice to meet. Yeah, no, I could tell when we get two marketing guys together talking about UX, I'm like, game over. These guys are going to start holding hands soon. Because Brad's like sweet spot area. I'm more finance and strategy. So my question would be more about that. Did you guys do a fundraising round, or did you bootstrap this thus far? Or is that part of your partnership discussions? Just in general, can you lay out what you're willing to disclose in that area?
Yeah, so Deso raised from like A16Z, Coinbase Ventures, Sequoia, Winklevoss Twins. Yeah, a bunch of different people. So we raised
the blue chips. That's
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, Nader is good at that. I mean, he's well connected there. And DAODAO, we wanted to keep it, pure. We wanted a fair launch. So we did not go to anyone outside of the community. We wanted the community to get in early. And basically what we did, we raised through early access NFTs. And if you bought an NFT, it reserved a certain amount of DAO coins. You could have gotten like a bronze, silver, or gold. And then you have ownership in the DAO. So we did not want to get any VC money or anything like that. It's all community. We raised all that from the community in a bear market. So we're really, really proud of that. Now, if anyone wants to buy into DAODAO, that they're more than welcome to. But we wanted to keep the fair launch. When we built it.
No, that's cool. Smart. Particularly in a space like this that would yield competitive responses from other players, more centralized players in the space, I would suspect. So it's good not to have too much in the VC hands out of the gate, in case you get sort of predatory retaliation by some of them. So smart. I did see on the screen like a ticker going by on. Is there a token for DAODAO, or is it the Deso token? I wasn't sure. Could you clarify that for me too? Yeah. I don't have access to a laptop right now, so I apologize for asking.
Yeah, so there's two different things. There's the Deso token. So everything on the Deso blockchain is, powered by Deso, the token. So all transactions in there, when people tip you, they tip you in diamonds, which you can cash out in Deso, and fiat. The DAODAO token is separate from that, right? So it's like we call it a social ERC20 token. Basically, but yeah, DAODAO has its own token, and if you buy the token, you get a percentage of the trading fees. Right now, we have 0% in trading fees because we want to grow liquidity in the community first. But eventually, the DAO will vote on how much the DAO gets for trading fees as well. And then owning a DAODAO token also gives you a percentage of every eligible DAO launch. Right?
Yeah.
So if we launch PokeDAO and you have DAODAO tokens, you get a percentage of those trading fees as well. So you have you got a lot of upside right there if you bind it.
Yeah.
So
That was my next question. So you hit it in advance. No, look, that's brilliant. So everybody who comes in, and I even was talking yesterday to Brad about, DAO in a box, just as in, and then lo and behold, he pulls you out of his hat instantly. So I was like, this is perfect, because everyone who comes in and we've run into a lot of DAO potential clients over the last year. People wanted to do stuff, and it's such a cool group of people that want to start DAOs, because mostly it's a very altruistic group. It's people that just want to help in different ways, and they're not going to be, and this is not a slight, it's just they're not going to be as concerned about infrastructure and finance and compliance and things like that. And it seems to me you're offering up a nice turnkey solution for all of those types of people that can just get on to doing what they want to do, the social good, and not worry about tripping themselves up on some technicality somewhere that knocks them out of the gate. And everybody that wants to support that kind of a scale up vision would logically be in the DAO coin to get a piece of all those future DAOs that launch on your platform. So yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much. I mean, we run into a lot of DAO founders. They just don't want to deal with the technical stuff, like the medical DAO. He has no technical background whatsoever. He's all in on medicine. He's a very, very sharp dude, but he just wants to like build and scale a community. And that's kind of how we built DAODAO, for people like that who wanted to do it with just a few clicks.
That's cool. And I mean, I could think of a couple of people. I'll give them to Brad and he can DM you, but just a couple of people that I think would be good hookups for you right out of the gate that want to do this. So
great.
I think it's a great market opportunity.
I lost. In terms of the governance within these DAOs, is it kind of just a standard proposal vote scenario? And is that something you guys are going to be expanding upon later on, or what's how the governance handled within these DAOs?
Yeah, it's a standard vote proposal. If you scroll down a little bit, you go down to, there's a tab called proposals, I believe.
Oh, I'm in trade.
Oh yeah.
Let me go to the DAO.
Yeah, we're gonna improve we have like a few minor UX things to improve, but right there is proposals, and we just voted on the DAO trading fees right here. So you just click there, you can create a proposal right there as well, and then people just kind of vote and decide. Nice. As far as like expanding it, we don't have anything in the immediate pipeline, but yeah, that's kind of how we handle votes right now.
No, that's cool. Look, I mean, I think it's the standard model that everyone expects, but I do know there's a lot going on in that world of governance. And you guys, you own the chain, and well, not own the chain, but you have a chain and you know how to develop for it. So if there are other things that people want, I'm sure you can do it. And plus others could probably create. Can people kind of create and integrate on a technical level with the DAOs that they create in DAODAO? Like, could I customize something in my DAO if I wanted to? Yeah,
I mean, like, all this stuff is open source, so like you can iterate on it on top of Deso and kind of make improvements. So it's like,
okay,
an example is like, we have a bunch of like Web3 Twitters through Node. So like we have something called Desocial World, whose only focus is to bring Deso to other languages, right?
Oh, nice.
So it's like every node can be something slightly different. All the code's out there for people to make adjustments to.
That's awesome. That's great, man. Now I really like the model, and I love the fact that you have this high performance platform underlying everything, instead of trying to build it on something that wasn't meant for that. Which I think, look, we're seeing other competitors to Deso in the world with much more complexity and much more difficulty to get up and running than what you guys are offering. So I think it's a smart play. It looks good.
Thank you. So the one difference is like, how I would explain it is like Bitcoin and Ethereum, they do finance really well. They do DeFi really well. I mean, Bitcoin broke the door open for financial innovation. I feel like Ethereum, kind of carried that and innovated even more, but they're built for financial applications. Not to say they can't have social media or stuff on there. I'm sure they can. But they're built for like what we say finite state applications. You really only need like the beginning balance and the ending balance, right?
Right.
Deso is built for infinite state applications, right? So social media data is completely different. You need different types of storage to be able to scale decentralized social media apps. Like if you put Twitter on a blockchain, like it would cost like $80 to tweet on Ethereum. Imagine tweeting and then it costs $80 every time. You could never scale it. So
Right.
yeah, so Deso was
That might be the solution.
yeah. I think you're right, actually. I think right there.
That's brilliant, man.
Yeah. So maybe we should, build Twitter on a blockchain where it comes people have to think through what they tweet,
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So quick
That's
question,
awesome,
Ash.
man. Go ahead, Joe.
One more quick question. So, anybody can, if you have a social cause that you want to address through a DAO, anything you want, from a high school French class trip to your kid's trip to Paris to, something gun control or voting rights or LGBTQ plus issues, whatever you want to do, you could set up a cause on this platform, and then you can set up whatever your model is around funding that cause. So it could be fundraising from your community via tools you have, but you could also do other DeFi type stuff too, right? I mean, you could have some financial models on here, as in like staking or liquidity pools to finance your cause. You could load those into this platform as well. Am I correct?
No,
Yeah.
go ahead. Sorry, Ash.
If you want to build something for that, you definitely can. Like LixDAO is an NFT staking platform, so they want to bring NFT staking to Deso. But to answer your question, yeah, I mean, you can fund anything on through DAODAO or on Deso. I mean, we had somebody tag me in on Diamond on Deso because he wanted to fund his marathon in Germany. So we funded him by tipping. And he made Deso shirts, nice. It was like a few $100. I've talked to like a few people about fundraising for high schools as well. They haven't really launched anything like that, but you can do all that through DAODAO. We have a guy, like the best example of that right now is Web3 Simplified, which he funds every video through a round to create content around Deso. So he opens.
Oh, wow.
If you go to Web3 Simplified, so he goes round 2 funding, we're going to create this video. Round 3 funding, we're going to create this video, and so on.
That's
so
awesome.
You could do the same thing with a high school, or like a social cause you believe in, or an investing DAO, trading card DAO. Everything is on the table with DAODAO.
So
That's
even
awesome.
a content, a show too. Like for example, like say the type of stuff that we do, Brad and I. You could put stuff like that on this platform and use it to monetize and sustain social causes.
100%.
Right?
Yeah. Right. What about like non-biased journalism DAO? Stuff like that, where you band together as a group and you create content that's counter what's happening today in the media. I mean, I just saw a stat today where like trust in media entities like the news and the newspapers at an all-time low. Right. So what if you create a DAO where you created news that was more trustworthy, all that can happen.
That's cool, awesome, man. Great job, Ash. Good job presenting today too.
Hey, thank you so much.
That's great.
Yeah.
Anything else we should know, Ash? Why don't you give people where they should go to get connected with you and with the projects?
Yeah. So, you can go on DAODAO.io. You can read the one pager, read the vision button right there. You can download that and read through it a little bit more. If you want to find us on Twitter, go to DAODAO, search DAODAO on Twitter. You can find Deso at Deso Protocol, or you can reach out directly to me. My Twitter is Invest in Digital. And if you have an idea for a DAO or anything like that, you can reach out to us and we can kind of help you onboard your community, and we can help you kind of map everything out.
Awesome. Ash, thanks so much for coming on today, man. It's very informative. I'm excited to take a deeper look at what you guys are doing.
Thank you so much, Brad and Joe. You guys have a wonderful day.
You too. Thanks man. Again, Ash. Appreciate it. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I think I might go buy me some DAODAO.
Wow, that's some serious ass investors behind that chain.
Yeah, no, I mean, that totally surprised me. I mean, obviously, if I had, I mean, I probably would have looked it up on a laptop, but damn, I mean,
Damn.
that's the who's who.
Yeah. Yeah. Notable
I
Deso
mean,
holders: Sequoia, A16Z, Coinbase Ventures, Digital Currency. That's
now the one in there that I like is obviously Sequoia. I mean, that's
sure.
the other digital ones in Coinbase. You know, I'm like, yeah, it's big. Don't get me wrong, but it's sort of not as mature as say Sequoia is. So when you see
Exactly.
Sequoia, you know they vetted the shit out of this.
Oh, and they're listed on
So
Coinbase.
DAODAO is or
Yeah.
Deso. Oh,
Deso.
got it.
Yeah. Huh. Really
What is the
interesting
ticker
stuff.
for? What's the price on DAODAO right now? I would search it myself, but I can't.
Hold on.
I thought it was like 0.6017. I thought I saw that up on a screen somewhere.
0.0610.
0.06.
6.1 cents.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Look,
cool,
you get
man.
that. You get a piece of every other DAO they ever launch. So if
That's
this
right.
succeeds and turns into
Oh, no.
like the
Wait,
big
I
ass,
don't know if it works that way. I don't think you do.
I think you said it's shared. Yeah, that's what we're talking
Oh,
about.
it is? Oh, okay.
Yeah. That, you know, everyone that comes next, you're essentially getting a piece of those platform fees or those earnings or that DAO itself. So
Yeah.
to me,
cool.
you know, when you're looking for Brad's, all, you know, we're always talking about HODL versus trade. I mean, to me, at this price, this is, and again, I don't own anything yet. I'm going to go buy some, but you know, this is one where with all these players involved, if they can't execute, I don't really know who can. So you might as well take a flyer. And throw it in a drawer and forget about it and see what happens. Because you could be at the foundational level of something giant.
Yeah.
But then again, you might not be. So, you know.
Well, I'm really impressed with this. I'm going to take a deeper dive in this architecture because
Well, I saw a lot of ideas.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, I was thinking of a couple of projects that I could see fitting into here. A couple of ones that we could test there. You know, from everything from Ransom and those Salvadoran guys. You know, I think they'd be a great fit for this platform.
Totally.
To some of our other, you know, kind of cause concepts we've talked about around DAOs. I'd love to see something where we could launch that would just take off on its own and, you know, do the things that we want it to do without human intervention. I mean, that's what I kind of want to see, the robot DAO. You know, so
that'd be awesome. All right, man, buddy. I'm going to wrap it up. I got a call in 3 minutes. So thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. We really appreciate you. We love having everybody on board. Check out the new episode for Mission DeFi at missiondefi.com. This will get posted up later this afternoon. And Ash, thank you so much for joining us today. Joe, thank you. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Ash. And thanks, everyone. See you guys tomorrow.